banger.
The sample pack is completely for free. You can find it in the link in the description on the free tier of my Patreon. Initially, I was gonna try to sell this pack for $27. I had this whole like launch sequence of a bunch of promotion and everything. And then I saw this video that was talking about don't give out free stuff unless you would be comfortable for charging for it. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give out something really big for free. But while I was working on this, I was intending to charge for it. So like I really went in on the sound design and I learned a lot of stuff, especially about making color bass while making all these sounds. And this pack is very one-shot focused because my computer is not that great. So just a couple of instances of Serum 2 really eats up my CPU. So I like to have a lot of one-shots and loops that I can use while I'm in a creative flow. So that way, you know, I can go back later and maybe layer some synths over it or change certain things. So I just like having a wide variety of sounds that I can use as a placeholder, and sometimes they actually stay in the full song. So this pack is divided into 3 sections. We've got melodic, melodic terror, and terror. Melodic is mostly color bass and melodic dubstep focused. Terror is just all tear out, just nasty, heavy dubstep basses. And melodic terror is everything that didn't really fit the mold of either one specifically. So first, I'll go into the color bass section. These are some color bass growls. That's my favorite one. I don't even remember how I made that, but it gives like a very AU5 feel to it. And these are color bass impulse responses. So color bass impulse responses are just like chords you can put into a convolution reverb to kind of colorize any sound. So I'm just gonna show you what that sounds like. So I've got this little growl that I made right here. We take one of the impulse responses. I've got an oct sign, which is basically just the harmonic series. So it's basically, I don't really understand it that well. I've got a resonator section, which is just chords I made with resonators. And I've got a square and a supersaw. So my favorite is the resonator. So I'll just show you what that sounds like. I'll take an E minor. And I usually have to dip a lot out of the, like this mid-range. And then, you know, do like little OTT or something to really bring it up. But yeah, for each one of those different sounds, I've got major chords, major 7 chords, minor chords, and minor 7 chords. I figured that would cover most of the bases of anything you would need as far as coloring things. Then I've got these lasers. This is one of my favorites. Just anytime you need some colorful lasers, they're in there. And I've got them separated by chord enough so that if you need to like down sample like 2 semitones or up semitones, like that's as far as you'll ever have to down or up sample. Color bass stabs. These are not as good as the lasers because this is like the very first ones I made when I was first learning how to do it. But I kept them in because, I mean, you know, somebody might find use in it. These are some glitchy growls, which aren't technically colored, but they still have kind of a color-based vibe to them, so. So I still kept them in the color-based section. All right, and then still in the melodic section, we have some noise that I put some convolution reverbs on. So it's just like a nice clean ambience you can kind of put in the background. These ones are really cool. These are color-based glitches. There's 100 of them. These are really good just for putting in the background of your drop. So, you know, for like, or turnarounds and things like that. And these are a fuck ton of Melodic Fills. I basically made those just for like little fills of the drop section where, you know, you just need a little something. And I don't know about you, but whenever I'm making a drop, I enjoy like the turnarounds and stuff, and I like trying out different stuff, but I don't like having to spend like hours trying to sound design for like something that's going to be there for half a second. So I kind of just wanted to make as much as I could so that it would cover just about anything that I would want to do, and then you can time stretch it, reverse it, and put different effects on it and stuff like that. So it's really useful for making drops. Now this shit right here, crazy. So, you know, hype loops, like Virtual Riot talks about having those little background lasers and stuff like that. I did that, but melodic. These first few were just like, I was just messing around with doing melodies and stuff. So like not that crazy, but when it did get crazy is when I started taking my regular hype loops and putting some convolution reverb on that. So those are also really good for putting like in the background of your drops. And then I did some like color basey, watery textures. I didn't really do too many of these because the Sharks color base pack already has so many amazing samples of stuff like that. So I didn't really feel like there was anything of value I could really add with that. But, you know, some of them are kind of cool. Some of them just sound like somebody's pissing rainbows. This is a really cool section because this is more melodic dubstep focused. I ghost produce a lot of melodic dubstep, and a lot of the times I'm stacking a lot of the same synths for the chords, and I'm mainly just changing things with leads and effects and stuff like that. So I have all these saw stacks just bounced out, ready to go, so you can just drop it in. And it's basically, it's like 5 or 6 layers. It's like a bunch of serums and harmers. And I've just got like every major, every minor. And then I did power chords also. So that if you want to do like fancier chords, you can just like have that as your bass. And then, I mean, it's not like a bass, but like that's the base of your chord. And then you can add on just your own superstalls to turn it into like a fancy chord or whatever. And same thing for mid basses. Because melodic dubstep has been around for so long, I feel like it's just gotten to a point where I'm using bits of melodic dubstep as fills or just transition pieces. So I'm not really too worried about my mid basses anymore because it's just not as innovative as it used to be. So it's never like the main part of my songs. So I just made some just mid basses. And yeah, that's just the same sample but at different notes. So that way you don't have to worry about down sampling, up sampling, etc. And that's basically just layers of like, I don't remember, it was like 3 or 5 different basses. I usually have a sub, mid bass like glue layer that has a lot of more of the high mid frequencies, and I have like a growly thing, and then I have a phasery harmer, and so that's what all of these are. And that's what's so good about these is they're already layered and loud, and then you can layer it further or just use the sub from those, and yeah, it makes it easy. Then I've got a bunch of melodic dubstep-y type of lead one-shots. And I just made those all at C because, I mean, come on. I ain't trying to right-click on that keyboard. Then I also have some plucks. And I mean, they're fucking plucks. All right, then in the terror section, I have these like regular, not melodic hype loops. Now I've got some long boys for, you know, those sustained basses like Sudden Death and Murata and all those folks. Then I've got 125 Tearout guns. I made almost all of these using Odd Profit's method of using the spectral with like a snare or percussive sound layered with a sub bass. So I highly recommend his tutorial if you want to learn how to make these. But yeah, it's just all over the place. So you can hear how some of them are kind of tonal, other ones are more like atonal, but I put the note that it is just in case, even though I didn't separate it by tonal and atonal for some reason. And here's a secret weapon that I use for tear-out drops. I'm gonna make a whole video about how to make these, but these are a bunch of mid layers, and basically you just layer some of these on top of your tear-out guns. And they don't sound too crazy by themselves, but if you have like 5 of them bad boys with like a really good tear-out gun, it's just nasty. And you can see the terror section is a lot less big. It's smaller because I just don't make as much heavy stuff as I do pretty stuff. All right, now in basically the miscellaneous section, we have these crazy effects. We got some bass dirt, which is basically basses and white noise distorted together and then high pass. So you can just lay this on top of your basses. Then I've got a crazy amount of bass fills. We've got some color bass ones. These Reese fills I think will really come in handy because everybody loves a Reese bass sometimes. It's something we all always go back to eventually. So I just have fucking 60 different Reese bass fills. And even though there's 60 of them, there's really not that much variation. It's just like, you know, it sounds like a Reese bass fill. And that's what it's for. When you want something that sounds like a Reese bass fill. Now these regular bass fills, which I have 107 of, are very varied. Double V. They're a W. That's a bar. And that was basically me just playing around with a bass fill generator that I made in Serum 2, which be on the lookout because I'm also making a video about how to do that. I got these glitchy risers. Just don't ask. I don't know if these are even useful, but at the time, I was like, this is a good idea. I'm going to try to turn glitch sound effects into risers. So I don't know if those will be useful or not. I might try them out because, I mean, it could be fun. Then I've got like regular risers. I mean, what kind of... They're risers. I don't know. I don't enjoy making risers, but everybody who makes a pack has risers, and I was like, I guess I should make some fucking risers. Then I've got these utility layers, and basically what these are things that you're gonna commonly layer with different things. Like I've got like this laser bass, and that's just good for layering behind like tear-out guns or color-based stabs and different things like that. I've got a few different transient layers, which are basically just like noise or transients from a kick or a laser but shorter. And those just help your like really plucky basses stand out. Like like a psytrance bass or something like that. Then I've just got white noise, as we go and use it eventually. White noise high passed, white noise widened, white noise wide with distortion, and mono distortion. Then also have these sub basses, just like regular old. I've got both clean and dirty. And then possibly the most fun thing to make. I used AI to turn my voice into other voices, and don't worry about copyright or anything like that. I used Otomy, which lets you change your voice to like royalty-free voices. And this one was a lot of fun.
Bass. Certified banger.
Just knowing that that's me, you know, it's kind of cool. Because I was like, certified banger. Like, I really tried to feminize my voice a little bit.
Classic. Drop the bass hard as fuck. Laser. Oh my god, it should go hard. You fuck up at everyone.
And I have both wet and dry, so if you don't like the effects, if you don't like tonal delay on pre-drop vocals, first of all, get some help. But just in case something's wrong with you, I also have the dry ones.
Classic. Drop the bass hard as fuck.
And then also got male vocals too.
Hit him with another one. Back with another banger. Bass like this. Drop it like a nuke on an innocent country.
I was running out of ideas, okay? All for free on the free tier of my Patreon, which is in the link in the description. If you fuck with this and you use it and you like it, then let me know.